The farmer walked home carrying a load of firewood on his shoulder pole. Suddenly a piece of wood slipped off and plunged straight into the mud. He bent down to pick it up, and that small hole began gushing out clear water. It turned out he'd pierced through an underground water layer. The drought plaguing the fields finally had a turning point. But all of this was just a dream the farmer had. What was eerie was, the villagers truly did dig out a living spring at that exact location. From then on the farmer became a divine figure in the village. Out of 10 dreams 1 or 2 would always come true. But the passing Mushy Sure Ginkgo said this was an affliction. A certain Mushy had taken residence in his dreams, and granted him the ability to foresee the future. Moreover, as the Mushy reproduced and multiplied, he would eventually be trapped in his dreams unable to wake. Ginkgo gave him several packets of medicinal powder. This medicine could suppress the Mushy population within safe limits. He must take the prescribed amount each time or an overdose would be fatal. Once the medicine ran out he would return again, but the farmer didn't comply, because his ability benefited the entire village, and his own family's life had improved because of it. So he lost his way amid the villagers' flattery. But as the accuracy rate of his dreams kept rising, the farmer developed an illusion, as if he himself was making the scenes from his dreams become reality. Watching the villagers grow more and more dependent on him, his wife also reminded him from the side that this was all heaven's will, and relying on his prophetic ability, the farmer indeed helped villagers avoid many disasters. Although everyone considered this a blessing, the farmer himself felt increasingly uneasy about these prophetic dreams. He gradually began relying on the medicinal powder Ginkgo had left behind, until a flash flood struck. In this disaster his daughter was tragically swept away by the floodwaters. Because he'd been taking the medicine, they failed to avoid this calamity. Watching his wife weeping, the farmer was filled with regret, so he threw away the remaining medicinal powder. Without the medicine's suppression, the farmer's prophetic dreams returned, and not only did their frequency keep rising, the images he saw also became increasingly clear. This once again earned the farmer the villagers' worship, and they brought him fruits and vegetables to express their gratitude. The farmer also gradually forgot Ginkgo's warning, until one night he was jolted awake by a nightmare, and even after waking the terrifying images kept his expression twisted. But when his wife inquired he desperately concealed it. He just never expected that the next day what the farmer feared would still come to pass. He witnessed with his own eyes his wife's entire body turning black, crumbling into fragments and disappearing before him. Not only that, but even everyone in the entire village turned to ash in this bizarre manner. The entire village was left with only him, and when Ginkgo returned to the village once more, the farmer himself finally understood the truth. It turned out what was inside him wasn't a Mushy that could foresee the future, but rather a Mushy that could turn dreams into reality. He furiously demanded why Ginkgo hadn't told him the truth back then, and Ginkgo finally spoke the truth. It turned out this type of Mushy couldn't be completely eradicated. The best approach was to use medicine to maintain balance, and if he'd told the farmer the truth back then, he wouldn't have been able to bear the reality he himself had created and would have collapsed. Upon hearing this, the farmer finally broke down. He furiously demanded why Ginkgo hadn't killed him back then. Then the entire village and his own wife and child wouldn't have died. By now Ginkgo knew he'd handled things improperly at the start, but he still hoped the farmer could live on. He pointed out the real culprit was a Mushy called Imino-Oi. They parasitize in their host's dreams, but occasionally emerge from dreams into reality, and at those times he would become the medium bringing dreams to reality. In other words, not all dreams could come true. However, as the Mushy reproduced, their appearances would become more frequent, and their sphere of influence would grow larger and larger. But this type of Mushy had one fatal weakness: they would disappear when exposed to sunlight.